Hey there, I'm Rose Hedberg, your writing coach and the founder of Ideas Right Now. In today's video, we are talking about that 7-step approach to collecting stellar letters of support. Let's jump in. Proposals require letters of support, but the big difference between an average letter of support and a stellar letter of support comes when you can collect those genuine, inspirational notes that can nudge your application ahead of the rest. So let's jump into the 7 steps that we teach in the Global Grant Writers Collective on how you can collect stellar letters of support. Step number 1, develop a contact list. You can use our free template linked down below or start your own. At the bare minimum, your spreadsheet should have name, organization, phone, email, and columns for tracking if the letter has been sent and received. Perhaps you're making this contact list and you're a little bit stumped. Who in the world do you request a letter from? So seek support from as many disciplines and perspectives as you can. When we seek letters of support for EPA brownfield grants, for instance, we collect them from neighborhood groups, environmental organizations like the Nature Conservancy, housing authorities, development organizations, professional associations, and nonprofits, etc. We do this because in casting a wide net, you can accomplish 2 things. Number 1, you are demonstrating a broad support among unlikely collaborators. For example, maybe you have environmental groups and land developers. Both are letters of support for your project from very different fields. Number 2, you're basically getting extra narrative content. So aim for 15 to 20 organizations for letters of support so you can include them in your overall proposal. What if you're creating this contact list and you're in a rural community and you don't have many options? Here's what we have to say about that. Sorry, it's a self-limiting belief. No matter how small or isolated your community is, there are always organizations and neighboring communities that care about your project's success. So consider these options if you feel stumped. State departments in health and social services, environment and transportation. Cultural organizations like museums, heritage centers, or art councils. Consider neighboring communities. Professional organizations like AARP or Livability Program. You can think about job or skill training organizations and programs. Consider the regional or state colleges or educational programs are near you. And if you are an Alaska Native tribal community, very rural, consider a letter from your village corporation, regional corporation, and organizations like the Alaska Native Tribal Health Consortium. These are just a few options you can think of if you're feeling like you are too rural. There are options. Number 2, you want to prep your request for letters of support. We provide a template in the Global Grant Writers Collective, but the basics that you want to provide are simple. You want to provide instructions for how they can submit the letter of support and a few maybe questions on guiding them, giving them a comfortable outline while allowing them to have enough creative freedom to add in those anecdotes. You can start with opening a Google Docs or a Word doc and prepare the following information. You want to provide an overview of your organization and the name of the grant you are pursuing. Next, you'll add 1 to 2 sentences that describe your project. Next, you'll have the official request for a letter of support from that organization that you're inviting to respond. All of this will be in one Google document that you will send in a short email. You'll also include in that document instructions for the letter, including things like put an organizational letterhead, addressed to whoever the grant guidelines specify or your organization's highest in command, so give them that information, a brief description of their organization as it applies to the project. Next, you'll want to include specific instructions for what the letter should include, things like putting an organizational letterhead, addressing it to whoever the grant guidelines specify or your organization's highest in command. Then you'll want them to have a brief description of their organization as it applies to the project. You want to have them make a statement confirming their support and, if applicable, information on how they will support the project during implementation. You'll also have them include statements describing any past collaborations, which can be a really fun way for them to add anecdotes. And lastly, your instructions should close with a deadline on when these letters are needed back. Usually we say 10 to 14 calendar days. So you've got your list. You're prepping your request for letters of support. Step 3, figure out who will request which letters. So decide during your kickoff meeting who will request which letters. You can understand that getting letters of support from people in senior roles requires a little tact. In many instances, if you are requesting a letter from a senior role, the best way to get that letter is if the person highest in your organization, or appropriately higher, requests it. As you're going through your contact list, generally you want to match whoever has a personal or professional relationship within your organization with the other organization you seek a letter from. This truly helps to pull those letters through because it's so much easier to do the chore of writing a letter of support when it's for someone you know and respect. After you've decided who is requesting which letter, assign those, provide your team with that information that you developed in step 2. Our preference is to include that information in a Word document so the organization we are requesting a letter from has a quasi-template to use. We also like to attach it as a Word document rather than copy and paste it into the body of an email. We know that people tend to shy away from long emails. We do as well. And it's less intimidating if we only write 2 to 3 sentences in an email when requesting a letter of support. They can open that attachment and find the step-by-step instructions. Step 4, prepare to be amazed. When you ask for letters of support and you don't implant suggestions or write it for them, giving them a rigorous template, you will receive far more compelling and genuine letters of support because they're creating these heartfelt, free-form letters that you couldn't possibly have created on your own. And the authenticity of these letters are going to shine through when you read it. And your grant reviewer is going to feel that as well. So be amazed at the words that people have to say about the success and support of your project, and also be amazed at how much this content really adds up to add extra narrative to your proposals. Step number 5, only write a ghost letter if you absolutely must. Sometimes an organization or a representative will ask you to ghost or write the letter for them, and all that's required of them is a signature. This will happen sometimes, so be prepared to write a template letter. If you can, still try and highlight some areas where the organization can add in their own personalized content, like past collaborations or anecdotes or observations. Generally, though, this doesn't happen with more than 1 or 2 letters. People, if you ask, if it's the right person, are excited and willing to talk about how they want to support your project. Step number 6, save letters immediately. We say this over and over again, save those letters as soon as you get them to a designated project folder. There's nothing worse than losing a letter because your inbox swallowed it, or forgetting that you even received it to include in your proposal. So as soon as you receive those letters, track it in your contact list and then save it to your project folder. Lastly, step number 7, assemble your letters in an attachment. So once all those letters have been received, we encourage you to include an attachment cover sheet that talks about all of the organizations that provided a letter. This helps the reviewer locate specific letters, and it gives them a general overview of what to expect. With these 7 steps, you're guaranteed to collect more stellar and genuine letters of support for your project. But we want to hear from you. Did you receive a letter of support you were not expecting from a member of your community? Who was it, and why was it such a surprise? Drop us a comment below and share your exciting letter of support stories. Don't forget to subscribe for more grant writing content and hit that notifications button so you never miss out on future videos. Thanks for watching, and happy writing!